Halifax has a lot to offer. It's an incredible city with deep maritime roots, rich history, and of course, a ton of East Coast charm. But truthfully, it's not all positive. In today's video, I'm going to break down the harsh truths of living in Halifax, Nova Scotia, which is a very rapidly growing city right now, so that you can make an informed decision before you start to pack your bags and get on the road to move to Halifax. Now, just before I get into it, if you're new here, my name is Andrew Stephens. I've been a realtor in Halifax for 10 years, and if you want to be educated on the Halifax real estate market, then hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to book a call with me, you can do so anytime at the Calendar link below in my description at a time when it's convenient for you. And if you're watching this video from out of province, or maybe you're a local looking to learn more about Halifax, you should check out my other channel, the Halifax Insider. It talks all about things to do, places to visit, food, drink, and so on. And it's a great way to learn more about this incredible East Coast city. Now, a lot of the issues I'm going to talk about here today have to do with our population growing very, very quickly. From 2016 to 2021, we were the fastest growing downtown core in Canada. And in 2022, we were second only behind Moncton, New Brunswick. We just passed 1 million people in the province back in 2021. And our government has the goal to bring the population to 2 million by 2060. So a lot of these problems are not likely to change anytime in the foreseeable future based on the rapid growth that we're seeing. Let's start off by talking about the housing crisis, since this is in fact a real estate YouTube channel. So we have a housing crisis here in Halifax and in Nova Scotia in general. It's not any, surprise to anybody to hear that. It's all across Canada at this point, but it's definitely causing the displacement of a lot of locals as well, which is really unfortunate to see. Right now, our housing shortage in the province is expected to be right around 27,000 units, and this is expected to increase to 71,000 units by 2027. We're currently adding 8 people to the province for every 1 unit of housing being built. And our homeless population is definitely growing at a very rapid pace. We're seeing more and more tent encampments popping up. We're seeing more and more tents all over the city of Halifax. And the rent and the price of housing has gone up over 50% in the last 5 years. Now, unfortunately, based on the overall state here in Halifax, I don't anticipate this changing anytime in the foreseeable future in terms of shifting to a more kind of buyer's market or like a tenant's market. I think the shortfall is going to continue based on the population growth that we're seeing here. It's simple supply and demand. We're bringing in a ton of people to the province every year, and we have no place for them to live. Moving on, let's talk about the lag in infrastructure. So infrastructure is a huge problem here in Halifax right now at the pace that we're growing, and it comes from a lot of different angles, but a couple things that come to mind right away would be the overall transportation, whether you're driving or if you're on the public transit system. This is a bit of a train wreck right now, but the rapid transit system proposal is coming soon, so hopefully that will make a difference in the future, but it's going to be years before that's completed. So that's one thing. And then our schools are over capacity as well. And with the way the population has been growing here and we're just increasing the density and everything now, I would suggest that maybe we're moving a little bit too quickly and we kind of bit off a little bit more than we can chew without the infrastructure being there in the first place to catch up with everything. And whether you want more density or not, it's coming. We have just upzoned pretty much the entire city as of late, which is going to make huge differences for developers moving forward. And I think that the overall impacts of these decisions won't really be fully realized until years and years down the road, whether they're positive or negative. It doesn't really matter. It's going to take some time to realize the full implications of some of the decisions that have been made with the overall population growth that we're having here, and with the upzoning, and with the lack of infrastructure to support this in the first place. This is also causing huge headaches in terms of construction. It's noisy all the time. It's ugly to look at. There's constantly road closures, bridge closures, all kinds of things like this that is slowing down commuting all over the city. And if you've ever come into the Halifax Peninsula, for example, there's only so many ways in and out. A lot of them are a single lane all the way down, and it's a huge train wreck, and it takes forever to get in and out of the city if there's an accident or if there's a road closure, which is constantly happening. So you're always dealing with that construction, and it's a huge pain in the butt. Oh, and by the way, most of the construction that's done here is done right in prime time, rush hour, doesn't matter. We don't do a lot of construction at night like some other cities do. So if you're trying to commute and there's a certain road that's closed, you're going to be dealing with that for potentially days, weeks, or months on end. Moving on to the next harsh truth, and I believe this is a problem pretty much anywhere you go in Canada, but it's certainly a huge problem here in Nova Scotia, and that is healthcare. We have a serious lack of healthcare right now in the province. As of June 1st, 2024, there were approximately 160,000 people on the wait list for a family doctor in the province of Nova Scotia. The ERs are flooded as well, and recently there's been, unfortunately, a few deaths of patients sitting in the ER waiting to get treated, which have been all over the news as of late. So it's really, really unfortunate. And of course, with our aging population in Nova Scotia, this is sort of a scary situation to think about where this could be headed. Now, in terms of walk-in clinics, across the Halifax area, there's very few of them, and most of them operate in several windows per day. So it's like 8 to 12 in the morning and then 1 to 4 in the afternoon, stuff like that. And if you don't go at least an hour or hour and a half, or sometimes even 2 hours before they open, you're not likely to be seen because they can only see so many patients in the 3 or 4 hour window that they're open. And I've recently had friends that have gone to walk-in clinics an hour or an hour and a half before they opened, and they still didn't get in to be seen that day. So it's definitely at a critical level here in Halifax and, of course, in the whole province of Nova Scotia. Now, for the record, as of the last couple of years, I have had some family members dealing with some pretty serious health issues, and I just want to say that it has nothing to do with the doctors, the nurses, kind of the healthcare professionals in general. This is a systemic problem. It's a lack of resources problem. And once you actually get in to be seen, the professionals that you're dealing with are fantastic and you're getting great, great care. But the problem is getting in the first place, right? It's a huge, huge problem. It's a systemic problem, and they're doing what they can with the lack of resources that they have. Moving on to number 4, let's talk about high cost of living. So in Nova Scotia, we have some of the highest cost of living across the country. We also have some of the lowest wages in the country, some of the lowest salaries in the country, along with the highest taxes in the country, some of the highest rent and housing costs in the country, and some of the highest utility costs in the country as well. And I can tell you that if you're talking to the locals that have been here for a long time, they're going to tell you that they feel like the cost of everything has exploded, but the wages and the salaries have not increased to the level that they should to kind of, make up for this on the back end. So the cost of everything is going up, but the wages are very slowly moving up on the back end, and it's not enough to offset the difference in that high cost of living that we're seeing in Nova Scotia. And last but not least, and sort of building on that high cost of living that we just talked about, is the job market. It is much smaller in Halifax compared to a lot of other major cities in Canada. And while certain sectors like tech may be growing, a lot of them are not growing at the pace that we would like to see based on the population growth and everything like that. So if you're moving to Halifax and you don't have a job lined up, it might be a difficult job search for you, as it is a much smaller job market here. So you might end up working a job that you're sort of overqualified to do, or one that you're feeling like you're underpaid at. And it's going to take some time for you potentially to find a job that's perfect for you, that's paying what you need it to pay, and so on. So there you have it. There's my top 5 harsh truths about living in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And if this video didn't scare the crap out of you and you're still thinking about making a move, you can reach out to me anytime in the Calendly link below my description. And I will say this, I've lived here pretty much my whole life except when I was in university, and I love living in Halifax. There are a ton of pros that come with it, and obviously there's some cons as well, which I've talked about many of them in this video. But to me, that's really no different than any other city you're going to move to as well. And if you want to learn more about the pros of living in Halifax, you can check out this video. It's going to pop up here in a second. The second half of this is all about the pros of living in Halifax. And if you got any value out of this video, all I ask is that you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and that'll help push this out to more people like you who may be interested in seeing videos about Halifax and the housing market here. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support, and have a great day.